Good afternoon. The Ranter is back to go into yet another rambling diatribe of the news of the day. And the one I was going to do was going to be about our state of politics, stemming from the recent Georgia runoff vote, and why it was so close, given how the campaign looked on either side of that. However, recent current events is going to overshadow that, as Brittney Griner from the WNBA was released from prison in Russia in a prison swap and is returning home to the United States. And the reason why I am doing this is because of the reaction of certain individuals of the right on Twitter and various other places who are crying tears of blood over it. They are cursing the Biden administration for doing the swap for a Russian arms dealer, which they're adding adjectives, so now he's a warlord. Not making a deal to get Paul Whelan out, who was arrested in 2018 accused of being a spy, who was a former Marine and did trips back and forth in Russia. Had nothing to do with spying. He wasn't a spy. Nonetheless, the deal secured her, but not him. And now the right is all over the place on this. So, every so often I flip on Twitter to see this. From the first time I heard about this earlier this morning, I see all the reactions for it, and it's getting worse and worse and worse. And it's at the point where I saw an article that Marjorie Taylor Greene wants to make this into an impeachable offense. I had to come in and give my reaction to that. What the hell is wrong with any of you? If you have a prison exchange deal where you can get somebody for somebody, but if you don't make the deal, you get nobody, you go get that person. If someone you want, they don't feel like the deal is able to get, that doesn't mean you throw the whole deal out. Now, people who are criticizing this prisoner exchange back and forth here, use Brittney Griner's political views as one of the reasons. She hates America. She hates America. Why do you make a deal to bring her back? She hates America. Some of y'all on Twitter who flagrantly throw your hate around on Biden, on the people on the left who is half the country, and according to the last presidential numbers, more than half the country than you. I would dare say that you are exhibiting your hate for America, for the United States government, and hate of this one woman, that you would rather it be the Marine coming back than her. You know what? I would rather everyone came back. This is not an either or for me. This is not she's better than Paul Whelan coming back. That has so nothing to do with anything, and that's kind of a callous thing that you would actually have in your head. You want to bring back whoever you can bring back. If you're able to, you do it. Now, the cold calculus is that you're making a deal to bring this one person back, and then you're giving them back this arms dealer. This is going to make Russia stronger. This is a horrible deal. Putin's playing Biden like a fiddle and whatever. And they propped him up. Now, according to Monica Crawley, he's a warlord now. Firstly, I don't know if you're just doing this because you want to be intentionally obtuse to get people pissed off at Biden. But I kind of got the feeling that if we're going to be releasing a arms dealer back to Russia, that we are probably going to be keeping tabs on him. That there may not be a major arms deal that he'll be able to do without us knowing about it. That's just a guess. But there is something that they're not really computing on this whole situation. Yeah, I want everybody back. I want Paul Whelan back. He was not spying. He is an ex-Marine. He's a good man with a good family. He should come back. Absolutely. But when you have a deal where we will do a prisoner exchange, but if you don't like the deal, then we drop it and no one comes back. Between the choices you have, be it Brittney or no one, you choose Brittney. Why? That's, people can be questioning why. Why do that? Why not? These type of negotiations are ongoing. This isn't a one and done. There's going to be stuff behind the scenes that's going to be done. If Paul Whelan was released, if it was him in exchange for this arms dealer, would these conservative individuals on Twitter be crying tears of blood over us releasing a arms dealer or a warlord for Paul? The knee-jerk to say would be, no, they wouldn't. But the politics, I think they would bitch about that too. That they would bitch about Paul being released in exchange for an arms dealer. Why? Because it's Biden that is on the other side of that deal. If it was Trump for these people, if he got released during the time of the Trump administration, which Trump was president for at least 2 years, and they released Paul for an arms dealer or for whoever else that we are holding, we would never know the identity of the person Paul was released for. Just be happy he's home and praise Trump that got him home. If Trump did that, I'm a critic of Trump, obviously, but Trump did that, I would not question it. He got somebody home. His administration got an American home that's being held in a foreign prison. Even I would say cut the guy some slack. But it's Biden. And so, if he released Paul, how dare he, send a warlording arms dealer back to Russia? We're glad that Paul is back, but why did you do that? You're just a puppet, aren't you? No. It is about politics. And maybe you're kind of smarting at the idea that Biden was able to make a deal for this type of prisoner exchange Trump did not. Did Trump even make the attempt to get Paul Whelan back? He had 2 years. Paul was arrested and imprisoned in 2018. Trump had 2 more years about that. But we don't want to ask that question, do we? We want to keep the focus right on Biden. Alright. What kind of really pisses me off a lot, all this is pissing me off. One of the things that kind of pisses me off about this is because they wanted some of these people who are criticizing this are doing it in the terms of equivalency. You know, we're giving them back an arms dealer, then we should be getting something equal in return. And Brittney Griner, bringing back, that's not equal, according to these people. Yeah, they throw politics and say, well, she ticks all the things that liberals like. I mean, she's a woman. She's the WNBA star. She's this, she's that. She has political feelings that are not like ours. Pout. I mean, here's the thing. Brittney Griner is a civilian. She was only imprisoned for a few squirts of oil. That's supposed to be 9 years in prison. She was nabbed at the time of the conflict starting between Russia and Ukraine. She was always a political hostage, a political prisoner. Otherwise, she has no geopolitical significance. She is an innocent in all of this. She doesn't have, a background history that would give anyone pause as to, what's she doing here? Is she spying? Hell, it's kind of maybe kind of think it's a tad little bit racist because they got her on a drug charge. So what's the propaganda here? That she was coming in here and dealing drugs? She was a different skin pigmentation after all. Point is, everyone should come back home. And if you can only get one, you get one at a time, but you don't stop. When back in the late 80s into the early 90s, when the Iranians were holding American, British, and one Irish hostage, we went into a point where that they had the strategy of no negotiation with terrorists, regardless of the fact of what the people holding those hostages were doing to them. When they were getting released one by one, nobody was having any complaints or issues about it. And because we're not really as hyper-focused on politics then as we are now, we certainly weren't jumping down the throat of Ronald Reagan or George H.W. Bush for how long it took for them to negotiate these people out. Certainly the families obviously did, but not the grander scheme of things, right? Sometimes it takes more than one presidential administration to negotiate your way in getting people out. This is not a fast process. There are, the back and forths of the concessions of who or what Can the deal be made in order for these exchanges to come and go? A Republican congressman, I'm not going to name too many names here, but a Republican congressman on Twitter whined that we gave up an arms dealer and he doesn't want to hear about gun control ever again. Well, Congressman, you would rather leave a civilian with no geopolitical significance in a foreign prison to rot for 9 years in a deal where either we get this one prisoner or we get nothing. You would rather us get nothing if we didn't get, someone you thought was more worthy than the other for it. I don't want to hear compassionate conservatism ever again. At least from you. I'm glad she's coming home. I hope everybody comes home. But to use this as a political football, use this as a way to castigate this presidential administration or the party at large or anybody, using this in her return for politics, just shame on you. All of you. I'll be back later.